Hi everyone, I'm Steph and I'm one of the dietitians here at BJC Health. Amidst all the panic of the coronavirus pandemic, I thought it might be a good idea to give you some recommendations for 10 items that you should be looking out for on your next grocery shop. So first off, you want to have some proteins ready to go. So having some tuna, some tinned tuna, is a great idea because it stores for a really long time. Next, I would look at having some lentils and beans, whether they're tinned or dried, and you cook them from scratch yourself. Then I would try and get my hands on some really lean beef mince. And you can keep one in the fridge and then keep one in the freezer so that you have one for your first week if you are in self-isolation and another packet for your second week. Then I'd look at getting some carbohydrates. So a really great pantry staple would be some rice, and I'd definitely go for a brown rice or a low GI rice like basmati. Bread, as I've mentioned in a previous video, is also really good because you can keep some in the pantry or in the fridge, and then you can freeze a loaf as well for week 2. Then I would look at getting some sweet potato, which you can just keep in the pantry for a couple of weeks, or you can bulk prepare ahead of time and keep some in the fridge and keep some in the freezer. Next, I would make sure that I've got lots of veggies on hand. So initially when you go and do your grocery shop, try and get some fresh veggies, and then once you get into your second week of having to stay at home, you can look at using some frozen veggie mixes instead. And it's really convenient these days because there are tons and tons of varieties and combinations of types of vegetables that you can get in the frozen mixes as well. Next, I would have some jars of herbs and spices, because if you are in self-isolation for a couple of weeks, you'll want to have a way to keep your meals interesting, especially if you have to stick to the same staple ingredients from day to day. And last thing I would look out for would be some frozen bags of fruit. So I'd look for some frozen blueberries. You can even get frozen bananas, frozen pineapple, and this is a great way to add some flavor to smoothies, to breakfast meals like oats or yogurt. And if you have some extra time, you can also think about doing some baking with some of these fruits. So in the coming days, I'll be posting up some recipes from our cookbook which utilize a lot of these ingredients and that are easy recipes that can be made ahead of time or made in bulk if you do have to self-isolate.